Assalamualaikum and very good morning to everyone. So today our group will present our statistical analysis project titled Trend in Online Food Delivery Usage in Malaysia. We conducted a survey using a self-created Google form to explore how people in Malaysia use online food delivery service, especially after the COVID-19 pandemics. So our aim was to understand what influenced consumer preference, classification level, and spending behavior. So we applied several statistical techniques, including hypothesis testing, correlation, regression, and T-square analysis to examine factors such as gender, income, age, user frequency, and classification. So each group will explain one method and its results. For the hypothesis testing, we compared the average daily online food delivery expenditure before and after the pandemic using a two-sample t-test. We had 64 respondents for both pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, and the mean for expenditure pre-pandemic is 22.5, expenditure post-pandemic is 22.97, with the standard deviation is 11.27 and 10.57. Okay. We said the null hypothesis rationale is there is no difference in the mean expenditure pre-pandemic and expenditure post-pandemic. And alternative hypothesis H1 is there is difference in the mean expenditure pre-pandemic and expenditure post-pandemic. Using RStudio, we got the test statistic T0 is negative 0.41737, and the degree of freedom is 63. The p-value is 0.6778. By using RStudio, we got the critical value for two-tailed test at alpha 0.05 is 1.998. Therefore, the critical value is plus minus 1.998. Okay. In a conclusion, since p-value 0.6778 is bigger than the critical value, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. There is insufficient evidence to suggest a significant difference in the average daily food delivery expenditure between the pre-pandemic and post-pandemic groups. Therefore, we fail to reject the H0.
Good evening to Doctor. My name is BALQIS binti SARMIZI. Next, I will explain the correlation test between repeat orders and satisfaction level. We use a scatter plot to visualize the relationship and found a weak positive trend, meaning people who place more repeat orders tended to report slightly higher satisfaction. So the correlation coefficient R we got is 0.28256, which show a weak but positive correlation. To test significant, our H0 is rho equal to 0, which no correlation. Our H1 is rho not equal to 0, which significant correlation. So using RStudio, we got the test statistic equal to 2.31939 and critical value 1.99897 with p-value 0.02368. So, since the test statistic is greater than the critical value and rho and p less than 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis. So, the conclusion is there is a significant but weak correlation between repeat orders and satisfaction level. Thank you.
So, in this analysis, we aim to investigate the relationship between an individual monthly income and their daily expenditure on food delivery services in the post-pandemic period. Understanding this relationship can help businesses and policymakers comprehend spending behavior in the food delivery sector. We perform a simple linear regression where the independent variable X is the monthly income and the dependent variable Y is the daily food delivery expenditure. So, the regression equation is derived from the analysis is Y equal to 18.33 plus 0.0025x. So, for the intercept, which is 18.33, this value suggests that for individual with zero income, the expected daily expenditure on food delivery is 18.33 ringgit. As for the slope, which is 0.0025, for every 1 ringgit increase in monthly income, the predicted daily food delivery spending increases by 0.0025 ringgit. For example, a person earning 1,000 more would spend approximately 2.5 ringgit more per day on food delivery. So, we evaluated the fit of regression model using the SSE, which is 7177.68, the SSR, which is 1316.07, and the SSD 4893.75. From this, we get the R squared, which is 15.49%. This means only 14.49% of the variation in the daily expenditure is explained by monthly income, indicating a weak relationship. We also conducted a t-test to determine the significance of the relationship, which is the t-statistic is 3.3717 and the p-value is 0.0013. Since p is less than 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis. Thus, there is a statistically significant relationship between monthly income and daily food delivery spending. Our analysis confirmed that monthly income has a significant effects on daily food delivery expenditure. However, the strength of the relationship is weak, as shown by the low R-squared value. Other factors likely influence the spending behavior. That's all from me.
Thank you, Elisa. And for the final part of our analysis, I conducted a T-square test of independence to examine whether there is a significant relationship between a person's monthly income or their allowance and their daily spending on food delivery services after the pandemic. And to carry out this analysis, we use a two-way contingency table at 25 confidence level, and we categorize respondents by their income range and their self-reported post-pandemic spending level. And then we calculated the expected frequencies for each cell in the table based on the assumption that the two variables are independent. So we have few of the key values from our test. So first, we set the significance level at 0.05, and then we got the degree of freedom at 12. The critical value based on the T-square table is 21.026, but based on the R studio we got it in as 21.0261. And then we calculate the test statistic, and using manual calculation we got 22.1547, but using R studio we got 22.155, and our p-value is 0.03582. And because the test statistics exceed the critical value and the p-value is less than 0.05, this result is statistically significant. In other words, we rejected the null hypothesis. This means that there is sufficient evidence to conclude that monthly income and post-pandemic daily spending are dependent. There is a meaningful association between income level and how much people tend to spend on food delivery, suggesting that income does influence consumer behavior in this context. And these findings aligns with the real-world expectation, which individuals with higher income may have more flexibility or preference for food delivery services, while lower income groups may spend less due to budget constraints. So with that, I'll now pass over ATHIRAH, who will conclude our presentation. Thank you.
So, to conclude, our analysis based on 63 response reveal important trends. Demographic as age, income and gender significantly impact online food delivery behavior in Malaysia. So we found that no major change in spending before and after the pandemic, and
Also a significant but weak correlation between repeat order and certification, and a statistical link between income and spending through the regression and Chi-square test. This finding gives us understanding of consumer preference and behavior in the growing digital food delivery market in Malaysia. So that's all from our group. Thank you.